Welcome to RacketHive, the ultimate badminton podcast where we deep dive into the world of badminton. I'm your host, Kenneth, and today we have a very special guest with us. He's a YouTuber, and he's a YouTuber who has captivated millions with his insightful coverage of badminton, especially Malaysian player on the World Tour, with over 50 million views on his channel and first-hand experience at events like Olympics and All England Opens. He's a treasure trove of knowledge. Let's welcome Darren. Darren, it's great to have you here. How are you today?
I'm great, Dylan. How are you?
I'm good. It's Kenneth. Okay, sorry, it's Kenneth. I used Dylan in another podcast. That's why I should call Kenneth. Okay, so let's call Kenneth. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay, let's go Ken.
Let's go for Ken. Yeah. Okay. Let's welcome Darren. Darren, it's great to have you here. How are you today?
I'm great, Ken. How are you?
I'm good.
Happy to be here, and hopefully to share some good stories with you guys.
Amazing. I'm stoked to have you here. So, Darren, would you like to give us an introduction about yourself? Maybe so the audience will know more about you.
Yeah, I'm a YouTuber. I've been doing YouTube for like 2 or 3 years now, 2.5, close to 3 years. And I first started at the 2022 All England Open, and since then we started. Well, I went to the tournament, vlogged it. It went on the news, especially in Malaysian media. A certain song, very, very iconic, Saya Anak Malaysia, which means I'm a child of Malaysia. I've actually got my flag there, so be good to bring it in a little bit. This is the one I wear on stream, so it got me to where I am now. We came from 10 people watching in a community where I think we watched Tan Kiameng and Lai Beijing won the Korea Open. 10, 20, 30 people watching them win what is to date their last ever tournament title. Hopefully do more, but we can talk about that a little bit. To 500 people waiting for me to come on stream when Li Yijia played Pablo Avian in the group stage, only the stage at the Olympics. So happy to create this community, and happy to be not the voice of the fans, but with a passionate fan with a voice for badminton.
Exactly. The world needs someone like you. Having someone to watch Olympics with me or Li Jijia with me. I mean, this is something like God sent, right? Because just watching by myself alone is actually not like as excited as someone who can let us know what's their fault, what they're doing on the footwork. We might disagree and we might agree, but then that's the idea of like watching a match together, right? So what has been your most memorable experience watching a badminton match live around the world, and what made it so special?
On TV or in real life?
You on live, or on TV, yeah.
Okay, so let's start off with TV because I think that is more memorable. So, least memorable because obviously we like to live in the moment. I think it's got to be, this will, anger a lot of the Li Jijia fans, but at 16-20, Aaron and Wu Yik first got to, conceding 4 match points at the Olympics. I was on air about to, and then having the night before, my golden girls, Pelitan and Emtina, long-time viewers of my channel would know that I'm a massive fan of those 2 girls when they played. One of the biggest ever watch-alongs I've ever done. One of the most, I think it's the watch-along with the most views, or second most views on the World Tour, was Pelitan and Tina went open in 2022. I think October 27, 2022. It's a day I still remember to this day, and I will probably remember for years to come, where we saw the first title. Anyways, to have them have that disappointment, I was really disappointed when they lost to Shida and Masayama. Yes, they got out of the group of death in that tournament, and in hindsight, it was a great journey for them, great run from them with the form that they were playing at the start of the year. It's something we didn't expect. So to have that disappointment again, what we thought was a disappointment, and ended up Aaron Chan, so we ended up overturning 4 match points in the second game to go and win the bronze medal, the first of Paris 2024 from the whole Marine contingent. I just think that that's something really, really memorable, and something I would, it was great to have a community that watched it with, because to be honest, right, it kind of enhances my viewing experience of the game. It's only thanks to the community that we've made, from Peli and Tina winning that French Open, and certain more iconic moments. I remember Lee Jia playing Pranoy in the Asian Games, Ng Seong playing Kodai in the Asian Games as well. Commonwealth Games is quite big, and I'm sure Ken can ask a few questions about that, having heard the news of last night. And that kind of shaped the channel, and that's paved where we are today.
Oh. Yeah. Did you go to last Commonwealth game?
I did. I went for 5 days. I think I went to watch the group stage. I didn't do the team. I did watch it on the team event. I think the watch-alongs are there on the channel where we won the mixed team gold. But I ended up going, I think, every single day of the individual competition.
Wow,
apart from the semi-final. And, well, 21-4 is a very famous scoreline in Malaysia badminton history. Thank God it didn't happen in the Olympics. But yeah, I didn't watch 21-4 in real life, and maybe if I watched it, it may not have happened that way. So, but I did watch Peli and Tina win, Chloe Birch and Lauren Smith. It's the only time I watched Peli and Tina win a title, 1-5, 21-8 on August the 7th.
There you go. I think I was there. I was there.
I also went to watch diving, and I also went to watch the closing ceremony.
Oh, okay. The closing is amazing. You know what? I was there with you on that day. I was like watching Commonwealth as well, and then I saw someone else jumping around like with the Malaysian flag as well. And now I recall that must be you. You were sitting at like
I was the guy. I was the guy that was the first shown when on the main TV, when Peli and Tina throw the racket in the air, right? And then I think they showed Coach Rexy, Maniki, and Hun, right? And then they showed me, like, unbelievable,
yeah.
On the main feed, live to the world, live to hundreds of millions, and it was amazing. On the BBC as well.
And you, oh god. But yeah, you were so hypey like at the time. I was like, oh my god, let's hype the whole audience up, And then everyone was like trying to shout according to your slogan. I was there. I just didn't know that was you. I mean, until right now, just remind me about it, and that was you. Oh my god, what a coincidence,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think of the Commonwealth Games?
Well, the quality wasn't as good as like All England, because you can see that they wasn't like at their best, but then it's all about like showcasing the whole thing, the whole like idea behind of the Commonwealth. I enjoyed it because you get to see like those like big player, get to have a picture of them as well when they're walking outside like the resort world, So it was amazing, How about you?
But in a competition sense, it is a little bit. For fans of football, it is a little bit of a pizza cup, if you know what I mean, compared to the All England. Like you've got the small teams, and then they send backup teams there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
but it's still good,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but they scraped the Commonwealth for 2026. I just know it from your channel yesterday. Like, why did you scrape it?
Yeah, but I think it's a good thing. I've spoken to the BWF about this, and one of the topics that I brought up was the overload of tournaments. We saw Marin get injured in the Olympics. We saw Tunjung last week get injured when she was playing An Seong in the Denmark Open. And most recently, we saw even players who haven't played for a long time. So in Malaysia, there's this girl called Ng Shi Xuan, right, who got injured. She tore her ACL, her MCL, damaged her PCL, right? and also a few other knee injuries as well. She's been asking for donations, and thank God, it was like, I think the treatment cost will cost like 10 grand in terms of pounds, 12, 13 American dollars. Thank God we hit the target for that. But it just goes to show, my point is, it goes to show how much the players are under pressure, playing the amount of tournaments that they are playing with. So
Yeah.
and like I said, the Commonwealth Games is a little bit of a pizza cup in terms of the badminton. I think it's even lower than the SEA Games in terms of competition, because with the SEA Games, at least you've got, we saw the likes of, if you remember a few years ago, we saw the rise of pairs like Leo Roli Canando, Mulana, Siti Fadia Silva Ramadanti in just the previous SEA Games. But with the Commonwealth, you kind of look like, I watched one game, it was the Falkland Islands. Again, not the Falkland Islands, I think it's like the Niu against Lakchasen, right?
Yeah.
And with all due respect to the player, it was done in 6 minutes. He took I think the 20th rally in order to score his first point. So, and to make, the big players on the world tour go through, 2 tournaments, might I add, 2 extra tournaments, is like a little bit putting them too much under the pressure. And I think in a sense, it's a good thing that they've gotten rid of it,
Right. Well, but do they
But
really
that's my opinion. You might have a different opinion. That's the great thing about sport.
do they really have to cancel it? Like, they could send someone else to come, right? They don't have to really send the major player just for fun,
No, so this edition of the Commonwealth Games is supposed to be held in Australia. So this was supposed to be held by the Victorian government. But a few years ago, I think it was this time last year, where a Victorian Premier, Dan Andrews, came out and said that they didn't want to host the Commonwealth Games. And they even paid £100 million to not host the Commonwealth Games. So the CGF, the Commonwealth Games Federation, went to different countries. Malaysia was one of them. Singapore was another, with the money that Dan Andrews gave to the CGF. Please, can you host the Commonwealth Games? Like, they kept begging for it. Malaysia said, no, we are hosting the SEA Games the following year, and it's just another burden on the taxpayers' money. Singapore said no as well for the same reason, but being respectful to Singapore, when you are half the size of Greater Manchester, right? You can't really host a tournament housing 5,000 athletes. Like, it was troublesome enough when they hosted the Youth Olympics back in 2010, and I don't think they're too interested in wanting to do that again. So Glasgow was the last option, and one of the terms was it was a scaled down games, and they had to look at the program and go, these are the things that we can't include because of budget scrapping. And in my personal opinion, and this is just me as a Malaysian sports fan, like, really detrimental to our chances of getting as many medals as possible.
I didn't know that was that much of troublesome. I thought hosting a game like that is gonna be contributing the economy, the local economy, but I didn't realize that it's gonna become a big cost for.
Are you a resident of Birmingham?
No, I'm not yet, but I live here. Yeah.
Okay. Didn't the city council get bankrupt for it last year?
Yes, we did.
They declared bankruptcy.
You're asking if I'm resident? Yes, I am resident. My council tax bill just gone up 25% this year. That's insane.
Yeah, it's because of the Commonwealth Games.
But the thing is,
it's not.
It's not really from the Commonwealth. I mean, there's like a legal thing behind, as in people is suing the council because of gender inequality. That's the reason why. But then I thought if you host a game like that, people is paying for entry fee, people coming to travel around the world, it's gonna be the economic of the travel agency gonna all send tourists to Birmingham. Then it's gonna be good for them, right? That's what I assume.
But with the time frame that they've got, which is, 2 years, less than 2 years to host it, I think it's understandable from their perspective because these kind of things it's a 6-year program. Like when Paris won the bid, I'm not saying the Olympics is the big as the Commonwealth, right? Well, or Commonwealth is the big as the Olympics. But when Paris first got the host of the Olympics, it was all the way back in around 2013 or 14. I recall something like that, or 15 or 16. Either way, these kind of games you need a lot of time to prepare for. Yeah, and Glasgow, you could say that they've done it before. They only just hosted it 10 years ago. But to have to go through that again, like, I don't necessarily think it's that beneficial for them. But I have a different opinion. Yeah. You're from Hong Kong. We've got the Asian Games. That's bigger. That's arguably the Euros. If you compare it to football, it's arguably our badminton's own Euros. So I'd rather the Malaysian team concentrate on that. We'll have a better tournament. India and Malaysia will be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, speaking of which, you're correct, because I was remember before the Commonwealth game, they were trying to get as much voluntary to the Commonwealth game, and then they literally just use the whole part of a library, of a Birmingham library, not really the whole part, but then just a side of it. They have people have a long queue for more than 3 months to just queuing for registering for the Commonwealth volunteering. So yeah, I can assume that is a lot of taxpayer money to really recruit those people to set up the whole thing. That makes sense. And yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, you're correct. They come into Asia when they are.
It takes long. And I think they house the athletes in hotels as well. So even Birmingham did it on a budget. They basically, I think the Malaysian team all stayed at the Hilton Metropole near the NEC. So and I think South Africa was there, Singapore was there as well, and a few other countries. India was in the Moxie, right? But basically, my point is, the Birmingham organizing committee bought an entire hotel, basically rented it for 2 weeks, right? Maximum security in the area to house the athletes. So they didn't even build an athletes village for it. So, and even that bill costed around, I think, 700 or 800 million pounds in total, the cost of the Commonwealth Games.
Wow. Okay, no wonder that's a taxpayer money. Okay, that makes sense, man. I didn't really think of that far, they're doing that. For they must be doing a deal with the hotel. I don't know that number, but but that is clearing the government if they got bankrupt. Yeah. Anyway, the thing is
I was in Birmingham yesterday, so
you was in Birmingham yesterday?
Just to do. Yeah, for Bolton away. Less said about that, the better.
Where about you right now?
I'm back in Manchester.
Oh,
so, but went to Birmingham to watch football.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I went Aston Villa last month as well. So
they're doing well. I watched Birmingham City.
Yeah,
win against us. So
speaking of which, that's a good thing to ask about. What do you think about the community between football relative to the community in badminton? What do you think the difference is?
Now, for football and badminton, right, there's a big difference. One, football, for domestic football. So, for example, I follow Bolton, right? Bolton Wanderers. I have a season ticket with them. I go to several away games with them. So, some of the away games I've been to this season is Arsenal when we played them away. We played Birmingham in the league. I'm going to go to Stockport County away. Last season, I went all the way to Luton, Cambridge, to watch my favourite team play. You can't necessarily do that on the World Tour, where you fly to, where you live. For example, if you live in UK, you can't jet all the way to China for a week, and then Japan for a week, and then Korea for a week. that's gonna quickly stack up, the bill. So with that said, it's kind of different. Football is like a little bit of a religion, whereas badminton, yes, you can support. Some fans they support team, but for example, I support Pliet and Tina. When they play, I'm like fully in the zone. Like I could punch a wall if I really wanted to. But that's the difference. Bolton Wanderers, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be there in 70, 80 years, the same form, for example. Bully and Tina won't be playing for 70 or 80 years. And also, football, you can buy players, right? Badminton, Bully and Tina, Bully and Tina can't become someone else. So that's kind of different in a way. And they go through their struggle as well. Footballers, they're paid, regardless if they, like, for example, Bolton yesterday got 29% possession. They're still paid the same amount of money. Whereas badminton players, if you get knocked out in the first round, you get significantly less prize money. So, for example, Van Lane and Vendy got knocked out in a Super 1000 first round, for example, will be a significant difference compared to if they go further in the tournament. The pay is the same for football year round. So I think that's the difference.
Yeah. What do you think the badminton community has evolved over the years, and what role do you see yourself playing in the whole evolution? Because right now, like, to me, like, I think a lot of community is more of like just maybe just 10, 20, 50, that's it. Whereas compared to football, I mean, a lot of money involved, sponsors involved, and then there's always comes with thousands of people talking about a match, right? So what do you think about it, for badminton?
So I think that. Sorry, can you rephrase the question again?
How do you think the badminton community have evolved over the years?
No, I think it's not really evolved, but it's more grown. So, for example, let's speak about Li Zijia, right? I was really surprised when I first did my YouTube thumbnail. I put Li Zijia there, right? And I saw, wow, goodness me, there's a lot more people watching this content compared if I don't put him in, for example. So some players get a lot of drive from that. For example, Li Zijia, he gets a lot of drive, a lot of traction from that. And that's where he creates his community. I think it's definitely more, about the individual. For example, it's more about the individual, whereas football, it's the same team, right? If, for example, I'm not going to name some Bolton players, maybe because half the audience might not know who they are. But for example, Bolton, if Scott Arfield played rubbish, right? The one that played for Rangers in the Europa League final a few years ago. If Scott Arfield played rubbish, the whole team has to handle the responsibility, if you know what I mean, right? If we don't get, we didn't get promoted last year from League One, the players that left, they've left, they're on to doing better things. But the team has to hold the responsibility. Whereas badminton, if Li Zijia loses, right, his world ranking will drop. Therefore, the amount of quality of seedings that he gets for particular tournaments is gonna, it's gonna affect him. Like we saw it affect him in 2023, for example. So it's more about the individual for badminton community, where we follow an individual. I know Victor Axelsen fans, I know Cho Tian Chen fans, I know Jin Ting, Jonathan Christie, Li Zijia fans. But you rarely see in football, you do see a Ronaldo fan, you do see a Messi fan, but you don't see a Bukayo Saka fan, for example. You see an Arsenal fan, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, interesting. I know. What are the? Do you play badminton, by the way? How often do you play badminton?
I play badminton once, twice a week.
Once a week, okay. So, with your experience, I think because most of our audiences could be experience in intermediate as well. What are some effective drills from your experience that can really help a player practice along to improve their skills?
I think even as much as this is really boring, I took it for granted when my late coach, rest in peace, was, my first ever badminton coach, right? He used to make us do laps around the court, right? And, as any fitness person, as any current athlete would go, they'll go, oh, hate running. I remember when we had to do a physical activity for one of our school programs. I think running was one of them. I think only 4 out of 70 people signed up to actually do the running. So looking back now, I think running is really important because it helps build your cardiovascular skills. It builds up your fitness and the ability to hold long matches. We see this nowadays in real life badminton. For example, Kodai, I don't call him the marathon man, the running man for no reason. I've always said that, and badminton players, as we talked about, it's more about the individuals. So, fitness is really important in badminton. That's why you see when Kodai plays his opponents, he breaks them down. Look at Kunlavut in the Arctic Open. Couldn't play his next match despite him beating Kodai because his style of play can really damage bodies. It can break bodies. And with his rally style, right, people will learn, right? We're already seeing that now. We see it with Lakshas and Alex Lanier. People will learn from that style. So there'll be a greater emphasis towards player fitness. And I see this with our girls as well, our golden girls, Balitan and Tina. The ability to be able to play consecutive tournaments is going to be really important because that's what separates the great players from the 90% players to the 100% players. And I think that's their next improvement.
Yeah. Stamina and the overall physical is very important for the whole continuation of the badminton matches. Otherwise, you just cannot compete for the ranking. For you, do you have a setup? Do you have a practice routine at home? Just to improve your skill set in badminton?
So I lay out cones around my can't really do it here, but in Malaysia, when I have the whole parking lot to myself, I lay out cones roughly along half a court of badminton. So I will do it in the Formula One where they have the Batak challenge where you hit the button, right? I do that with badminton. So front court right, forehand, to back court, backhand, and then you go round the head at the back, and then so in total, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cones around because they teach you not only the footwork, which is really important and balance as well, but also you have the grip, if you know what I mean. If you have it teaches you grip. So sometimes when I have my badminton racket on, right, I train it with the grip.
Right. Okay. This is going to be something that you can only pick one. Okay. Which footwork, smashes, or stamina. If you pick one, which one would you pick?
Can I order them?
No, just pick one for our audience right now. Which one they should just go for? Right
so, footwork, stamina.
No, any of the drills that as a badminton player that they should work on.
So you named 3. What was the 3 again?
That 3 is just for example. What are the most important training that they should focus on as a beginner, maybe?
I would say probably footwork, because grip you can train over time, but there's no point training for grip if you can't get to the shuttle. And how do you get to the shuttle? You get it by the footwork. Stamina, again, if you're just playing badminton, that's important, but you're going to go to the gym, right? Because physical training is also really important. So you'll gradually develop your own stamina. But without you, the act of getting to the shuttle efficiently and effectively, like the 2 points that you mentioned, those two are irrelevant if you can't get to those. You have to be able to get there in order to play the shot. So it doesn't matter.
I would definitely pick footwork as well, because footwork is the number one thing that could save you energy, that could help you save the shot as well, and it makes the whole flow smoother, that you can play better. So I would definitely take footwork as well.
And aesthetically as well.
Aesthetically, there you go. Yeah, there you
it looks better.
When you have the
elegance, style is important.
There you go. Yeah, everyone knows that you have learned badminton before if you know footwork, and you can develop your style as well. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Now, some of the controversy here. If I asked you to pick, not really controversy, I mean, pick two rising star right now in badminton community, which two player that you see that could be the next potential?
Which discipline?
Players. Which player that has the most potential?
There's so many. You're probably asking at the wrong time, because it's post-Olympics, because you've got a new crop of players that are coming up now. So I could easily name you 10.
We can just,
with the current crop of players. But I would say if we're down to 2, right? And this is just me doing watch-alongs, right? So I was able to see them, and I'll pick 2 that haven't gone to the Olympics, right? Let's make it more fun. I would say, let's pick a boy and a girl. Let's be fair, gender equality. Alex Lanier would be my guy. I think he is if Zhou Tianchen and Guodai come together to combine their, passion, play style, it's like the perfect merger between the two. You get Alex Lanier. So not only is he fit, right? You can see his body physique. I watched Alex Lanier train in Wales. I think I was one of the only European international challenge that I've ever been to, right? I saw him train, but boy, that guy, he was only 16 or 17. It's irrelevant, but boy, that guy can make the player learn, and he's got a very good smash as well, and he's got incredibly good stamina. So, and he's stubborn as well. He comes across as stubborn, in my opinion. So with all of that added together, France have created this beast that is currently taking the world tour by storm. We've seen this at the Arctic Open, where he played that ridiculous match against Zhou Tianchen. I really regret not doing a stream for that game. If only that game was at 9 p.m. in Malaysian time, not 3 a.m. in Malaysian time. I would have gone live for it. But we saw how he played against him, and Zhou, he really wanted to win the tournament. You could see how he was playing. It's probably one of his best ever performances I've ever seen him play on court, even better than the Olympics, I would say. And he won another tournament as well, I think in Japan. So at 750, not everybody gets to win a 750, especially at his age, 19 years old. So you're going to have to go for him. Miyazaki, right? Tomoka Miyazaki is one that's really good. She's really, really impressive. When I come on to see her play, I think that she has a lot of potential. 18 years old. She didn't play the World Junior Championships, even though she was eligible for it. And we can see why, because getting to a Super 1000 final in China just shows the amount of great potential she is. And I think players like Yamaguchi and Hori, I think they've got a lot to be worried about. 18 years old, and I think she's world number 11 or 12 or 13 in the world rankings. So I think those two, in 2 years' time, especially if France hosting the next next World Championships next summer, you've got to really look out for players, especially Alex Lanier.
Mm-hmm. Alex Lanier is currently world ranking at 15. What do you think in 5 years' time that he's going to be?
it's really hard because as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, that players can get injured. It's all about the individual. So in 5 years' time, you don't really know what to happen. Obviously, for him, the best case scenario is that he's the world number one. But there's a lot that can happen in a month. Like there's a lot that can happen, as we saw in the women's singles Olympic semi-final. 11-5 up after winning the first game, dominated the first game. You could get injured. There's a load of things that can happen during a match, and I think it's impossible to predict where he'll be in 5 years' time.
Can he go up to world ranking number 2, 3, top 5 in 5 years' times?
No, I think there's still a lot of players that are still coming up. We got Alwi Farhan, who won the World Juniors back in 2023. You got Hu Zhean, who I think is really, really good. I've seen him play whilst preparing for my Malaysia watch-alongs at the recent World Junior Championship in Nanchang. So, yeah, it's impossible to predict, Ken.
Okay, just for the reference, well, Yamazaki right now is world ranking number 13. So you guys, could just keep a close eye on it. Okay. One thing that maybe something that interests people the most, like, as a YouTuber, what people really gravitate to when it comes to topics. You just mentioned Nijija is something that people want to talk about. Ang Si-young, and also you got like Marine as well. Marine that like there's a lot of like controversy about Marine, right? So what do you think? What do we want to know more about when it comes to badminton? Do we always want to know more about controversy, the unfair treatment of badminton player? What topic is the thing that people want to talk about?
Sorry, I don't understand your question.
I mean, what topic people want to talk about, like as in a social currency? Say if they're talking with other like club players, like what topic they really want to gravitate when they are using it as a social currency? Is it like a controversy from Marine? Is it like a?
So you're asking me what you want to talk about?
Yeah. What are the things that?
Okay, let's talk about Nijija. Yeah. My audience will be interested to listen to.
Like a badminton community. Like if I'm with my friends tomorrow, what should I talk about with them? What do you think I talk about with them that would really interest them to use it as an social currency?
I mean, there's a lot that's happening at the moment in Malaysian badminton. We've got a new women's doubles coach for Pulitan and Mtina, just unveiled yesterday. Rosman Razak will be taking over, be leaving the Malaysian independent players squad. So the likes of Gosife and Isutin and Ong Yusin Teoi amongst the other players to join Pulitan and Hemtina back again at the Bukit Kiara at the Academy Badminton Malaysia. So there's a lot that's happening with Malaysian badminton at the moment. So
there you go.
What do I personally think about that? I think it's an interesting move. They saw the likes of Chin Li Hui and Wang Peiti, Goh Liu Ying, back in the days, Wen Ke Wei, Yanis, and Vivian Ho. So it'd be interesting to see what that appointment attracts.
Yeah, the reason why I was asking that question because I feel like that you are a person that really keep a close eye in the badminton community because obviously you're a YouTuber on there. So I think that, if you can't answer that, I don't know who can answer that. You're technically like...
We talked about the Commonwealth Games already.
Yeah.
So that's the first controversy, and probably this is the second controversy.
Yeah. I mean, it's about time right now. It's like been 45 minutes. Darren's like, if you want to find you, where is the best place to find you?
So the best place to find me is probably on my YouTube. So my YouTube we recently hit 30,000 subscribers. Thank you guys to the community that we've created. Really proud of what we've achieved as a community. And I promise you, yes, I normally am a little bit late when it comes to videos, but when I've really got the time to I want to make quality content for my fans, and you're more than welcome to join our growing community. So I normally go live, as I may have mentioned before, when matches are playing, not just Malaysia games as well. Yes, Malaysia is a big attraction for many of the people that come to my channel, but sometimes I do other countries' games as well. So if it's a game that I'm particularly interested in watching, like Set Zhou Tianchen and Alex Lanier, I will watch it. So you're more than welcome to come on my chat, ask me anything that you want. I'm really candid with the way that I approach answers. Like, for example, the way I speak to you now is going to be the same as I speak to my fans on YouTube. It's going to be the same as the way that I speak to fans at the stadium, Axiata Arena, Utilita Arena, Birmingham, Royal Arena, Copenhagen, amongst many others. It's not going to be different. So I like to be honest with my fans, and together we want to revolutionize badminton media. We want to make badminton to become bigger, to become greater, to make I'm not the owner of the channel, right? I don't see I am, but like I see myself as a custodian of our great sport, and my responsibility is to leave badminton in a better place than how I first found it. And the way that we're doing that is by the community that we have on YouTube. And I'm also available on Instagram at Darren's Chan _37 and Twitter as well. And I'm also available on TikTok as well on All About Darren's at All About Darren's.
I'm sure they put in the show notes. There you go. That's what I love about Darren.
You can leave it in the description.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's so authentic. It's so like always so energetic about badminton. That's why we had decided to bring him to the podcast. Darren, it's like, who is the next person that should come to the podcast that have similar trait as you?
Yeah, Marvin Seidel came on, didn't you?
Yeah. And who should we bring next?
I tell you what, you should get a Malaysian badminton player. Can you get Pulitan to come on this podcast?
I don't know yet, but we will try. Okay. Yeah, but thank you.
When Pulitan comes on, right? Get me on this podcast as well. More than welcome to come back again and do it with her. All right. Thank you for the advice. Thank you so much, Darren, for sharing your incredible insight and experience in the world of badminton. It's been a pleasure to have you on RacketHive. I'm sure our audience has gathered valuable stories and tips today, and our listeners, don't forget to check out Darren's YouTube channel in the show notes, or just go on to All About Darren's, and there's a lot of exciting content. Trust me. I mean, his energy today, you can find it in his channel as well. If you guys like it, and remember to click the like button and leave reviews on the podcast as well.